This presentation was given by the Immigration New Zealand a few days ago. It's important to know what employers in New Zealand need to comply to. There's a few things I want to show here. Not everything, just a few things that I think are relevant. Slide number 4 is the first place I want to go to, right here. This is what New Zealand employers should know about this program. This program is made by INZ in order to, number 1 in green, encourage businesses and regions to train, upskill, and hire New Zealand workers. Encourage businesses to do what? Train and hire locals. We knew that, but this is policy now. Number 2, in orange, businesses and regions can fill genuine skill shortages. Genuine is underlined, should be genuine. They're going to vet that, they're going to prove it out. How? That's the question. Let's find out. Number 3, combat migrant exploitation and misuse of the immigration system. That has been a problem in the past. It's mostly for the semi-skilled and low-skilled workers. It usually almost never affects clients that are coming in under the skilled migrant shortage. In my experience, I've never had an experience like that. So I don't think that's going to be a problem, but the first 2 are interesting to see in writing, isn't it? Okay, let's go to slide number 6. What is changing? Big question, what is changing, isn't it? I'm only going to read 2 things that are changing. In the blue, top left, 6 temporary work visas, all those work visas that we needed to get into New Zealand and get that work visa in order to comply to the residency. It's only 1 now. It's Accredited Employer Work Visa. There are still other visas that are in process running, but the great majority of them are going to fall under that Accredited Employer Work Visa. AEWV, I'll just say AEWV, that's this whole program. That's the first one. The second item here, what is changing? Before, it used to be migrant-led, which means the migrant is supposed to lead the process and manage that process either directly using Immigration New Zealand laws, website, so on, or with support of a licensed immigration agent in New Zealand. One or the other, the migrant is going to lead the process. How does that change? Look to the right. Now it is no longer migrant-led. It is employer-led. There's a 3-step system for employers to follow. And what this does is that takes some weight of responsibility off of you. You can feel lighter now. Lighter in terms of the effort, responsibility, and lighter perhaps, in my view, also in terms of the cost, because you will no longer have to rely on hiring someone for support in the area of work visa, if I read this correctly. Am I a licensed immigration agent? No. Do I know? No, I don't know for sure. Do licensed immigration agents know for sure? Well, it's in writing here. So that's all I see at the moment. If I'm wrong, please let me know. Then we go to number 14. What do we have here? Settlement support activities. Every employer in New Zealand will give you these support bullet points. All these bullet points here on the white bullet points on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think it's 9 bullet points. They're all responsible for the employer to provide to you. It says within 1 month there at the top sentence. It's going to be faster than 1 month. That's just probably a grace period based on maybe some certain extenuating circumstances. I don't know, but you will be supported by any normal employer in New Zealand to find out, how do I get an IRD number? Well, hey, look, it's in their interest. How are they going to pay you if you don't have an IRD number? That's the tax code. Relevant industry training and qualification. Hello, that's their responsibility. Specific job or industry hazards, that's going to happen. Accommodation options, that's not what they do normally to locals, but they do that for foreigners, and that's written here. And that's kind of a good thing, isn't it? Transport options, same thing. They normally don't feel responsible to tell locals about transport options, but with foreigners, they're being asked, this is what you're going to do from INZ. I thought that was quite nice too. Cost of living, there you go again, same thing. Locals normally don't get that kind of advice. Foreigners will get that advice. How to access healthcare services, same thing. Citizens Advice Bureau services, right? Information about relevant community groups. Okay, So that's a handful there. And they're also given support in doing that by different ministries, departments. Now we go to 19. That's just interesting to know, isn't it? Now we just go to 19. Recruitment costs. The only reason I'm showing this is that part in the blue. Employers must charge fees Employers must not charge fees outside of New Zealand that would be illegal to charge in New Zealand. In other words, in New Zealand, I can say for sure, it's impossible for an employer to say to someone seeking work, hey, give me $2,000 and I'll give you a job offer. No, 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 no. That's not what happens. Watch out. You're crossing a lot of areas there of fraud, and you're going to get in trouble. I have a story of a client that came to me after having exactly that problem, and we resolved it together with the support of a lawyer who went no cost, and I also went no cost. We just helped a person who needed some help, and it was an unusual situation. It didn't go to the courtroom. It didn't go to any legal fight, but it was resolved, and it was highly illegal. It's very lucky that the employer was able to get away with avoiding the heat that INZ would bring down on them if they would get caught doing that. They're not supposed to cross that line in New Zealand or abroad. Okay, so enough said about that. And by the way, that story ended very well. That particular person who was looking for work, let's call him Johan, just a fake name here. Johan did have that problem. Johan did resolve it with the offending employer, which happened to be a small company owned by the husband of the person who was asking for the money. So the wife probably wanted some extra money, asked for that, talked to the husband. There was a delay in communication. It didn't end up happening. And I was asked to help, and I did, and it worked out. And now this guy, Johan, is working in New Zealand, and he's doing quite well. This is interesting. All right, so I've had a number of people come to me and say, hey, Tate, isn't it about time now? I guess most of the employers that want to be accredited have all long ago been accredited by now, haven't they? Well, no, they haven't. They've been talking about it at INZ, about this process and how it will work, but only now they're starting to explain it again, and only now they're starting to reset the time when it's possible to become accredited. Now, and I believe this time it will happen, maybe I said that last time, I don't know, but now the date for being accredited starts. It opens on the 23rd of May, which is in the future, obviously. So it begins on 23 when you can apply to be accredited as an employer. There's no accredited employers now to address. All of the employers that you're addressing now, in terms of looking for work, it is not a waste of time. It is okay, because in fact, it's inspiring them to go ahead and become accredited on the 23rd of May if they like you, because you're one more reason why they would go ahead and do that. The costs aren't that high, and we'll get to that in 1 second. Fees for employer accreditation. Look at this. Standard accreditation, top row, 740 New Zealand dollars. Not bad. So if you want to hire up to 5 migrants, you only have to pay $740. And if you want to hire 6 or more, it's 1,220. So there are high volume companies, but the great majority of companies, 95%, I think it is, are SMEs. They're not going to be hiring huge volumes of workers. So when they're paying a fee of $740, that's not huge. I'm gratified to see that, because I was a little bit worried that we're looking at a huge amount of costs in this area. Employer-led 3-check system. This is the last slide I've got. I think it's probably the most interesting, to me at least, because we have the employer accreditation starting 23 May. Then we have the job check starting 20 June. And then we have the visa application starting 4th of July, running forward from there. So you can get visas for this program starting 4th of July going forward. That's all I've got today. If there's any questions, please let me know. I can be found at employmentforimmigration.nz. Thank you. Bye-bye.